Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, basically just going to talk about two things. So one of the first things I want to talk about basically is just exactly how do I have my iPhone 7 set up with Google Fi. And to be more clear about it, it's not using the main Google Fi SIM card. It's actually using a data only SIM card. And as I said in a previous video, the reason I went that route is because the device is a T-Mobile iPhone 7. It's currently not unlocked from T-Mobile, so it will only use T-Mobile compatible SIMs. And as you guys may know, that Google Fi uses both. Sprint, T-Mobile, and US Cellular. So the data-only SIM cards, however, can only connect to T-Mobile's network. It cannot connect to Sprint's network, so you don't get the switch capabilities with the data-only SIM cards. Only with your main SIM card, or if you're using the eSIM, are you able to actually do that. As a matter of fact, Google Fi is eventually going to have you double up with an eSIM and a physical SIM card to do a much faster smart switch between Sprint and T-Mobile. But that's coming later on down the pike. So with the device, as you guys can see, so everything's pretty much just how I have it set up. As you guys can see on my bottom row, I have Hangouts, iMessage, FaceTime, and Duo. And Hangouts is where I have it completely set up at. Okay, so if we launch the Hangouts app, you guys can see I do my SMS from there, and it also goes to my my Pixel 3, which is my main actual Google Fi phone. So the main SIMs in my Pixel 3, Hangouts has been active for SMS interception, so it uses SMS or RCS from Pixel 3. It has the chat capabilities within Hangouts already. And then I use a native dialer for phone calls. But for those people who, you know, they don't want Hangouts ringing, they would rather have like the native ringtone go off, which you could in Hangouts actually change the ringtone itself. But if you wanted to ring from your lock screen, then that's something that you would have to enable, and you enable that in settings in Hangouts, be able to actually you know, have the phone ring from that. And you just initially go through the setup and settings of Hangouts, like, you know, you would go and set up to have incoming calls come in, and also messages. So those two things you want to have checked on in Hangouts. And then you can leave that the lock screen will ring. If you turn that off and you enable incoming ring, then Hangouts, the app itself will ring. But if you want it to ring like as if it's a regular phone, then just have the lock screen ring enabled and the incoming on the main settings disabled. That will allow the lock screen to ring, so then that way you'll get your phone calls as if it's a normal phone with a cellular connectivity, when in fact it's not using cellular, it's using LTE. Which, if I may make a point, that's pretty much where everything is going towards, voice over LTE. So literally this is what it would seem like if you were only to use a data only SIM. So here I'm able to have my iPhone 7 pretty much set up as if it's just a fully active line, when it's really only a data line that's pulling off my main line. So that's my iPhone 7 setup. Nothing too flashy, nothing you know, over flamboyant or anything like that, but the functionality is there, and that's really is what it's all about. iMessage works. I send a message through iMessage, it will send out over LTE or over Wi-Fi, which is the whole point of iMessage. Same as RCS message, which is for Android. But iMessage has had this a while, so. But yeah, I can still use it. As well as FaceTime. I can use FaceTime too. I can FaceTime with people. So like all the functionalities of the iPhone and iOS is present, even though it only utilizes a data-only SIM card. So that's probably the best part about it. And the reason why I went to go with this setup, originally I had my main SIM in my iPhone 7, and I had Visible in my Pixel 3. Because the iPhone 7 is locked to T-Mobile, not able to use Visible on it. Well, I figured I'd just go this route anyways, just go this way with it. use it this way. No problems at all whatsoever. Now, another thing that I want to touch base with is, I don't know, maybe people's perception, the difference between Android and iOS, when there's really not much of a difference anymore as far as usability, user interface, those types of things. I think it's pretty ridiculous when people are like, the iPhone is, simplistic, it's simple, it's easy to use. I mean, if you're gonna say that Android is just too cumbersome and too intricate, well, I don't want to say it because it's probably rude and disrespectful. But it just baffles me that someone would think that way. Android and iOS are very close alike. Sure, there's some quirks to it that's pretty much different, but those are like very minute things that are not, they're not heavy, that I would say that would make a drastic difference between. The app functionalities are almost identical with just a few key differences between apps on iOS and apps on Android. And then the fact that Android just allows you to add widgets, which really isn't that complicated or that hard. So I just don't see where people are going with that. As far as, yeah, it's just absolutely crazy that people will go that route and think that it's actually that hard to learn Android and that iOS is so simple. I mean, the only simple thing about iOS is that all the apps are on the screen and there really is no customization of that home screen. You can't really do anything out of the norms than what iOS will allow. Whereas on Android, you can put your icons anywhere you want. You can have widgets wherever you want. But other than that, as far as like using the apps and using the operating system, it's pretty much the same. I hate to throw it out there for those people who didn't realize it by now, but it's pretty much the same. So before I close out this video, another thing I wanted to kind of make mention of is that people are like, with Google Fi, you get access to 3 different carriers, which is Sprint, T-Mobile, and US Cellular. But one thing that I don't think a lot of people are very aware of is the roaming agreements that Google Fi has with Verizon and other companies. It is true, in fact, that you can actually utilize Verizon's network if you turn roaming on, and you're not charged for roaming. Like, roaming is free on Google Fi. So literally, if you're in an area where T-Mobile and Sprint do not work, you actually will connect to Verizon's tower, if you didn't know that. This was made mention before. I don't think I've ever mentioned it. This is probably one of the things I've always forgot to mention in my Google Fi videos. But it was made mention before by Android Authority. They actually made mention of it. And yeah, it's actually, it is true. So if you turn on roaming in your settings on your Android device that you have with Google Fi, any Google Fi enabled device, so like the Pixels, a couple of the Moto devices, the LG G7 ThinQ, I think, and the V35, some of those devices that are Google Fi with the smart switch capabilities, if you turn on roaming, then in a certain area where Sprint and T-Mobile fail to provide good coverage, you will be able to connect to Verizon's network and run off them, and you won't see any roaming charges on your bill. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys enjoyed what I had to say, what I shared with you guys, smash that like button to let me know. If you just found my channel and you subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. And also hit the bell notification to be notified when I upload more videos. And yeah, I'm not really feeling too good today. This back and forth weather is just really killing me today. It's like super cold. A couple of days it's been warm, so like right now I'm in the beginning stages of catching a cold, so I'm just trying to take it easy. So anyways, guys, but thanks for being patient throughout this video with me, and as always, aloha.